Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. I'm gonna say good morning. I'm like, oh wait, it's noon. All right. So, like Monica was saying, thinking, we've hit, the bottom. I'm the exact opposite with rates. I'm hoping we're at the ceiling of, of where these rates are going to go because we've seen such a nice run this year on rates improving. But tonight, so I do have some good news to share, but I will start with, tonight is a big determination on what will happen. Again, everything's going back to the conflict with Iran, the strait opening. We need oil prices to come down for rates to come down. So is it a bluff by our current president, or will something happen? Who knows? So the market is reacting in that it is a bluff and nothing's going to happen because rates have remained unchanged since yesterday. Um, so conventional financing, you're still around 6.375, 6.5%. Your government stuff, you're roughly around 6%, 5.875%. So rates are still good. There's still activity. Things are still moving. The positive I wanted to share is from our meeting a couple weeks ago after the Feds had met. We were expecting, no rate cuts and now a rate hike. Well, the Feds have kind of backed off on that. Still no outlook of a rate cut, but they've backed off on a rate hike, which is good news because if we have a rate hike, then yes, our rates are going to go up. So hopefully things kind of hold where they are for now and then, continue to get better in the coming weeks or months, however long it may take. Um, I wanted to share. I'm going to be setting up a Zoom training for a couple DPA programs. Probably be next week. I'm just confirming, moving a couple things around on my schedule, so I'll send that out. If you can make it, great. If not, we can hop on another time and do an individual training. But I wanted to share. I know we all work, with buyers that may have their own lenders before they come to you. Please still utilize me as a reference to check to make sure they're getting the deal that they think they're getting. Monica, I want to use you as an example. We had clients that we were working with, but they were getting a wild deal that I just couldn't compete with from the builder lender. And they are in a position to where they're looking to refinance because they are in an ARM product and they want to move to a fixed product. So Monica connected us again because they were getting some offers from another lending company, Loan Depot, and Loan Depot is notorious for this. They're going to dangle the shiny object in front of you to blind you from everything else that's going on behind the scenes. So they're offering this great rate for the borrower, but it was also costing them $16,000 to get that rate on top of the other fees plus some other stuff. So in the end, their loan amount was going to increase almost $50,000. And what they saw was, I'm getting this extremely low rate and they're giving me money back. So I had reviewed their estimate and pointed out, we set up a call. I reviewed the items and they were like, oh, I didn't even see that. The wife was like, I knew it was too good to be true. And Henry is like, oh, he's like, I was just, I just heard and saw rate. So, if it's someone that I'm not working with, like I've always said, I feel like I'm a part of this office. So utilize me and I can review items to make sure that there's nothing hidden or fees that the buyer is unaware of. So that's what I got for you this week. We'll definitely have a good update next week, depending on what transpires and takes place this week. But again, anything you need from me, flyers, open house, help setting up an open house, doing an open house, review with a client, anything I can assist or help with your business, please let me know and wish a great rest of your meeting.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Nice to meet you, Jorge.
Nice to meet you. Can I get your I can get your information from someone here, yeah. Okay.
Yep,
Thank
yep,
you. Thank
definitely.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that. And you guys use him if you have anybody who has been talking about refinancing Because if they've been talking about, I swear to God, they're all spying on our phones. Our phones are spying on us. I talk about anything and
Yeah,
ads pop up. It's happening. There's no way around it.
yeah,
Um, they're going to get bombarded with these offers, from so many different companies, and the offers always look really, really great. And they end up spending all this time and energy and they get their hopes up over certain ideas. And if you stay in touch with them and say, hey, if you're thinking about refinancing, I have a local lender who can actually run the numbers for you, or at least look at the offers you got, make sure you're not overpaying, or see if it's a good offer. And when I did this with Henry and Wendy last week, right after they got off the phone with Scott, they were like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for having him review this." Because we would have gone in blind and way overpaid for this. And all of a sudden, the trust just went through the roof. And they're like, we're not even going to look at those emails anymore. We're just going to call you next time, you know? And so that
yeah,
kind of builds that on the back end, even if you didn't do anything. Like, we didn't do any transaction. We didn't do anything. We just
yeah,
made sure they didn't screw something up. And that's a big deal. So definitely use Scott for that, even
yeah.
if
The most common
just a
thing
check.
that Yeah, the most common thing homeowners are getting is they get a pamphlet or a mailer in their mail, and it looks like it's coming from the person who did their loan or the company who did their loan and offering them this great deal. But in the very tiny fine print, it says not affiliated with your mortgage company. And then in that small print, it'll say this is the rate if you meet these characteristics, and it's going to cost you X amount, which they're charging somewhere between 2 to 3 points, which is a percentage of that loan amount. And that's where it really starts increasing those fees and costs. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Big
Well, that's a really great tip, you guys, for all of the agents to know what to expect. This is good being armed with this information. So
mhm.
thank you both for sharing that. All right.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Today, we're going to hear from Monica, who's going to share with us information about referral business. And she's prepared a good talk for us. So, Monica, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, of course. And can you guys hear me okay? Because I'm doing this on my phone today. I don't know what has happened to the thing on my computer, but it just does not do volume anymore. I don't, I'm working on it. So
You sound good.
okay, good, good, good. Okay, so yeah, what I want to talk about is something that can very quietly become one of the strongest parts of your business, and that's your referral network. And this isn't about like chasing like random leads. This is more about building a business that grows because people know you, they trust you, they remember you, and they think of you when something real estate related comes up, right? The best part about having a good referral business is not only that it's powerful, but it's also very dependable way to kind of grow over time. It might take a while to start building up, but it's dependable. It keeps rolling in, especially when you need it, right? And some of the numbers on referral business are actually really eye-opening. Depending on the source, let me see what I have right here. Um, well, a large share of any agent's business typically comes from referrals and repeat clients, but some reports show that referrals and repeat business make up the majority of transactions for many agents. Now, for some of you that are brand new, that may seem difficult or unlikely to be able to achieve that. But as you start doing more work and more transactions and you start making those connections, you start building that referral network and it rolls in at some point. Top producers, for example, often build even larger percentage of their business from their sphere, their past clients, and whatever referral partners they have. So tells us something very important. The agents that stay connected to their contacts, to their sphere, to their partners that they work with, those are the ones who get the most business and who are going to have a much easier time staying in business and not saying, oh, do I want to keep doing this, or do I need to do something else on the side? Right? Because there's a lot of agents who do end up having that conversation and thinking, is this enough? Or do I need something else? So, why does this matter? Why does it matter having a referral network? Mostly because, to be honest, cold leads suck. They take more time, they take more follow-up, and usually a lot more money to convert, right? Finding brand new leads is harder and more expensive and more of a pain than getting referral from somebody who you already know. Referral clients, they usually come in with like almost a built-in level of trust. They close faster because they listen to you more, they trust you more, they tend to be easier to work with, and if you take really good care of them, they're also much more likely to again refer someone else, and so it snowballs, right? When we talk about building a referral network, and you're going to hear this a lot from a lot of different people, what that's really meaning and talking about is building a business that compounds like interest, one on top of the other, and it builds and it builds. The more people that are referring, then their people can refer and their people can refer, and it kind of blows up. So the more you do this, the more it can come back to you. I think one good relationship can turn into two. Two can turn into four or five. Five can turn into a consistent level of business if you really push it and you stay in contact with these people. That's why it matters so much. And one of the easiest ways where you can start to do that is, again, your sphere. We mention this all the time, your sphere of influence, the people that you already know, that you've done business with, that are your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers, if you have any other jobs or even coworkers from before, from previous work, even like your gym buddies and your church connections and your social circles, literally anyone who knows who you are, anyone who knows you and has a little bit of a relationship with you. That's your sphere. You don't really need to go find strangers to create clients. You can do that, right? But it's much easier to start with your sphere. The people who already know you are the easiest ones to stay in touch with. They'll take your calls, they'll return messages, they'll pay attention to the things that you send them. And they're also usually the easiest to turn into a referral, maybe from somebody that they know, or maybe just later on when they decide they're finally ready and they need your help with something. The key thing is, though, you cannot disappear for months at a time and then suddenly show up and ask, hey, do you have somebody that I can help? You have to stay consistently present with them. That can be really simple. It can be a text occasionally to check in. It can be sending a quick little market update by email, or maybe you post something and then you send them that post as a direct message. You can send them a birthday message on their birthday. If you know when they moved into their home and this is a past client, you can send them an anniversary card for the day that they moved in, right? You can do little social media touches with direct messages or a funny meme or whatever that you want to send to them that day. Little things like that. Don't think that you're only doing that with your friends. Do that with everyone you want to stay in touch with. Maybe you just send them something like a helpful real estate tip or something about the local area, something that's going on in the neighborhood, or even a local vendor that you want to highlight and say, hey, did you know about this company that comes by and washes your car directly in your driveway? And look what the service they offer in this neighborhood. I mean, it could be anything, right? So a little simple text example could be, hi, Sarah, just wanted to check in and say hello. Spring market's picking up, so if you or anyone you know has any real estate questions, I'm always happy to help. And then you put a cute little picture or something. You know, keep it simple, natural. You don't have to push. You just you're planting the seed, right? That's what they always say, spring with the seeds and eventually there's flowers. I don't know anything about gardening. I kill everything that lives, so that's for somebody else. But um I have a lot of fake plants in my home right now. But that's kind of a way that you can stay in touch, right, with your sphere. And of course, you can always make calls to the people that you know you're more comfortable doing that with. Also, I do suggest that at least once every quarter there should be a call somewhere in there, right? You can do all those other little touches, but try to make a call, even if you just leave a voicemail. Make a call. Past clients, that one is really important. And if you're new, you got to get this in your stuck in your head. Whoever is a client now or is going to be a client, you need to stay in close contact with them even after. I've made the mistake of not doing this many, many, many times, and I kick myself for it. So please make sure you don't do that. Stay in touch with your past clients. When the transaction ends, that's not the end. You might need to give them a minute, right? Because they just bought a house and most likely they're either bought or sold a home or maybe both, and they're moving, right? They're unpacking. There's a lot going on. They're transferring utilities and all the other things, right? So there is some time to give them where you like leave them alone and just check in and make sure that see if they need anything, and you can chat with them later, but don't let too much time go by so they don't forget about you, right? And when you're moving, if you've ever done this, I'm sure most of you have, you end up talking to everybody about that process. You end up talking to everybody about the fact that you bought or sold a home or that you're moving or whatever. And in those conversations, if they remember you, they'll bring you up. That's the time when they end up talking to other people about your service. And oh my God, Monica stays in touch so much. I love it. She's always there whenever you need anything. Other people need to hear that, and they need to hear it from the person that it happened to, not from you, right? The person who's giving the review, even though they don't realize they're doing that. So it's good to stay in there right when something is happening big like that, like a transaction, and even a little bit after. Um, Once they do business with you, if they liked the service that you offered and they were happy with how everything went, they're much more likely to trust you again, to use you again, and to refer you to somebody else, as long as you stay in touch and you make it clear that you are asking them to do that and that you'd love the referral and that sort of thing. The mistake many agents make is just, that they finish the transaction and then they're so busy with the next thing that they don't really do that. So make sure that you put it as part of a follow-up sequence in your calendar, in your CRM, however you want to do that. You want to have a specific amount of touches and stay in touch with them, right? Some ways you can do that is you can send a little thank you message after closing, like right after. About 30 days later, you can do a follow-up call, see how they're doing. At least, I would say 3 to 6 months, within that first 3 to 6 months, check in by phone or by text or some way that you can start a conversation, right? Send them a yearly market update. Send holiday communications, birthdays, the home anniversary touches, all those. They can add up. So you can spread things out. You don't have to think about all at once, right? Just do them a little bit at a time. And so if you have a follow-up sequence or a follow-up plan for each one, then you can plug that into your system and now it's on your calendar and you know what to do when, right? You don't really have to think about it much. You just do what your calendar says. A simple message to a past client could be like, hey, John, I was thinking about you and wanted to check in and see how everything's going since the closing. If you have any other friends or family who needs a real estate help or a neighbor that you met in the neighborhood, I'd love to take care of them. Let me know. Something like that. Keep it simple, right? Another source of referrals that I think is highly overlooked by most agents is other agents. We think like, oh, we're not really going to get referrals from other agents unless they're maybe in our office or something like that. And why would another agent refer business to me? But this can be a great source of referrals, especially for specific things. So let's say you work the San Bernardino or eastern end of the Inland Empire, that whole region, right? You don't want to go all the way to, I don't know, Ontario or Corona because that's too far. Or you don't want to go to Orange County or LA or San Diego because that's too far. Or you don't want to go out to the desert or to the high desert, which I just did that drive recently this past weekend and it sucked really bad. I can't even fathom the idea that people are doing that on the daily because I know people do that for commuting and it's,
Yes.
anyway. So there's certain places I don't want to go, right? I also love selling property in the mountains, but I don't want to make that drive. It makes me very uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so, am I going to refer that to somebody else and take a cut? Absolutely. Do I know who to refer up and who to refer business to up in the mountains? Not at the moment. I could figure that out for a client if I needed to. But if you already build a network of people that you can refer business to and have them refer business back to you from different areas, like that you don't want to go to or that you can't go to, or even up north, or think of, I remember I sent a picture in our group chat on WhatsApp, I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something. It was like a map of the United States and it showed the percentages of where people go when they leave California, right? What
Yeah.
states they go to, right? There, go find some referral partner agents there, right? Because yeah, our our clients and our Californians may be going there, but they can also refer business back. Find the ones that you want to work with. Um, though that's great for any kind of relocation scenario, right? Because if you have a client and they want to move to another state, they really want to know that they're going to be taken care of over there. And they're thinking, well, how do I find a client? How do I find an agent there that I can trust, that I know is going to do a good job for me? I mean, I know I like you here, but what about there? Well, I've done that for, I don't know, probably about, I would say half a dozen clients at this point, where I took the time to make some calls and interview other agents in other states so that they could feel comfortable about who they were going to work with when they went there, right? And I got a cut of that. I didn't have to do anything but make a bunch of calls, right? Because I gave them a very warm, hot lead. Here's somebody who absolutely wants to buy right now. And did I ask for 35%? You bet I did. Because I gave them a deal. They had to do nothing but wait for those people to come and start looking at houses, right? So that kind of work can not only give you extra money without you having to do extra work, but it can give you leads when those people refer back. Also, if you connect with agents who do specialty work, like, for example, let's see, let me think, specialty work, like probates, divorces, commercial properties, manufactured homes. I don't want to do those. They're really low priced. I don't want to do that deal. I would rather refer that out, right? Um, Sometimes you can connect with those agents and you know that you can give them that business, but also you can tell them, hey, if you only work manufactured homes, but you end up with a client that decides, you know what, I just don't want this. I want an actual stick-built home. I want to upgrade and go look at those options. Well, that's when you can send them my way, right? Also, of course, besides price points, it could be maybe just certain clients, that they don't want to deal with themselves. Maybe they want to be able to help their family and direct friends, but they feel like that's a little bit of a conflict and they don't really want to work with their family members. That happens a lot. I I'm really tight with my family, so I never really saw that as being of an issue. But I know some people, especially those that have bigger families, um, that almost can be a thing, you know what I mean? So, but being able to refer that to somebody that you know you trust, and then they can trust that you are giving them a good person to work with, that goes a long way, right? And you're helping somebody that you care about. And you're giving business and hopefully getting business too. So that one is almost, I feel like, one of the easiest to get to set up a referral network with, because other agents want to do this too, right? It's like if you call another agent and say, "Hey, I'd love to refer some business to you, or maybe get some business from you," and they're like, "Well, yeah, that sounds good. I want to do that too." Like, in which reality are they going to be like, "Well, I don't want to talk to you about that," you know? I just feel like that's an easy conversation to have, right? Um, the thing that I think is important if you're reaching out to other agents is that um, your job is to also make sure that you set a precedent for, here's how I work with my clients, here's what I expect if we're going to do this together. And also to, just make sure they're on the same page with you, right? So if another agent sends you a potential referral, right? And they want to know that you're going to communicate well with them, that you're going to respond quickly, that you're going to take care of them, that you're going to make them look good for connecting you to, right? And you want to set that precedent with them too, that if I'm sending somebody your way, that this is how you're going to do that too. Like, or if there's anything specific, you just want to be able to set that and build that trust there. Um, a way that you could do that when you meet another agent, or by email, or even by text or something like that, or even by a phone call, you can say, "Hey, I work a lot in the Inland Empire, and I also handle probate properties. I always like connecting with really good agents. Um, in case we can help each other with referrals, let me know." Right? At that point, you're setting the stage. Here's where I work. Here's the type of properties I work with. I'd like for us to see if we can give each other business, right? It just kind of opens the door. And it's okay to discuss a little bit of detail when you're setting up these networks. I think it's more helpful to get into the details of any one particular deal when you have somebody that they're actually referring to you, or that you're referring to them. Maybe don't necessarily get into that up front. Just make sure that you're picking appropriate people to build that network with, right? Um, Relocation referrals. I wanted to talk about that really quick. This is a great opportunity because relocating clients often need more help than the average buyer, because they're not just needing somebody to help them find a home. They're needing somebody to tell them about the neighborhood, to tell them about the schools, to explain the local market, to explain the difference between that neighborhood and that neighborhood and that neighborhood. They need a little bit more because they probably don't know as much about that area as they did for where they're coming from. So when you're talking to other agents specifically for that reason, I want you to know clearly that that agent is someone that really understands their neighborhood, that they have good insight about that they can give good market guidance, that they can help the client really narrow down what's the best area for them. That's an important one when you're talking about, working with an agent who's in a different area that, you might send a relocation client to. And that again works vice versa too, right? If you're telling them I can be that for you, then you need to show them that you know about your region, right? So this is almost the back end of the homework of being an agent. It's not transaction work, it's knowing your market. That's something that you learn maybe slowly, but you need to make sure that you keep on top of that as much as possible. Uh, Other types of specialty referral agents that you could work with are ones that, for example, do like farms and horse properties, or ones that work with investors, right? There's some agents that work only with investors. The guys that are going to come in and gut a house and then resell it or rent it or whatever, right? Not everybody wants to work with that kind of client, trust me. There's probate, obviously. There's, trust sales where like there's trust properties that need to be sold. There's some agents that work only with land. They don't even work with property, right? They're like, nope, we just do land. There's some agents that work with luxury homes, luxury properties, and really massive properties. There's also some that work with, I think it's less of a thing that they work with like smaller, like condos and manufactured homes. That was the one I was thinking of, right? Those are, there seems to be a lot of communities throughout the Inland Empire that are mobile or manufactured home parks, right? So there are some agents that only work those areas and those types of properties. Also, there's some agents who only work with senior communities because maybe they are a senior themselves and they feel comfortable working with those clients. And if you feel like that's something that you can't best handle, or you want to get referrals from them for somebody who decides, you know what, the 55 plus is not for me, I want to go somewhere else, and then they can refer business back to you. So there can be a lot of specialty agents you can work with. Another referral partner can be vendors and businesses. These can be local businesses and vendors that you actually use or that a typical homeowner would use, right? For example, lenders, obviously, right? We refer, they refer back. Escrow officers, title reps, moving companies, staging companies, contractors, and handymen. Contractors are a big one. They find out about what people want to do, I think, first. um, Landscapers, painters, cleaners, even somebody who comes to organize your home, right? Um, there could be the obvious contractors that you might use regularly, like a roofing company, a plumber, electrician, those types, you know. And there could also be just other local businesses that provide services that everybody needs, like the local car mechanic guy that you think is great because you've been to him or you heard great things. Well, tell some other people and go over there and talk to him and see if you can share in that referral network. You know, I'll bring business your way. If you find out about somebody who needs answers to real estate questions, you send them my way, that kind of thing, right?
Can I throw one in, Monica?
Yes, please.
CPAs, tax preparers, financial advisors, they're dealing with
Yes.
people's money. They're great resources for referrals.
Yes. Yes. Did I say lawyers also? Because lawyers.
Trust attorneys, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys.
Exactly. Exactly. That's when things need to happen. And if people own real estate, sometimes big things need to happen, right? So, absolutely. Thank you very much, Scott. The key there is always to make the relationship mutual. I'm promoting you or sending business your way. I'm asking you to do the same back, right? So you could say, for example, hey, Tom, I refer great vendors to my clients all the time, and I'd love to keep you in mind for my future real estate needs. Let's stay connected, right? So hold on a second. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying send a voicemail. Okay. Sorry, I got a call. I was supposed to be on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what the hell was. So when you're telling them, you're just explaining, hey, I want to refer you, but please keep me in mind too, right? And try to stay connected with them. Leave them business cards. Give them your link to your social pages, stuff like that, right? If you are going to do online social media posts about the local business, then tag them. Make sure you have all those appropriate connectors there so that people can go back and forth and reach them. Some things on how to keep this going, because like I said, you have to consistently keep doing it and then it builds over time, right? Stay consistent. It doesn't grow because you think about it once or because you make a bunch of calls one week or because you decide, okay, today I'm going to send out a bunch of emails and texts and ask for business from these referral partners. You have to keep doing that. You have to keep showing up. So reaching out to the sphere regularly, like we talked about, following up with past clients consistently, staying in touch with other agents, maybe ones you worked with or not. They don't have to be anybody that you actually worked with. Keeping in touch with your vendors and whatever local business partners you want to build this network with. Being visible on social, however you can, if that's a platform that you use, and sharing useful market information. Try to use those avenues to ask for referrals in a natural way rather than, hey, I'm here to see if you have anybody for me. Like you can't just barrel in there with that. You know what I mean? I give a little bit and then you get something back, right? And what's that law of reciprocity? Is that what it's called? Yeah, where
So,
people think, oh, she really did something nice for me, or she helped me with something, or she went out of her way to like give me a shout out. Well, then I want to do something back too, right? So um, try to have that match when you connect with these referral partners. And I would say this, keep this as a as a challenge. Let's call it a challenge. Choose like 3 to 5 people from your sphere, your past clients, and mind you, this doesn't have to be real estate past clients. If you did another job before, other clients, other people you worked for that were happy with the service you provided, other agents, and any vendors or business partners that you want to connect with and have them be in your referral network. Choose 3 to 5 people from each of these categories and reach out to them, not to sell them, not to ask them for business necessarily, but just to connect, give them a little something valuable, give them a little something helpful, and just stay in front of them. You can always ask later, but right now, just connect with them, right? 3 to 5 from each of those 4 groups. That's not a lot of people, and it's easy to come up with that list and make those calls, right? And then the idea is add to that and then just keep freaking doing it. And don't stop until somebody tells you, I'm not in business anymore, or I don't want to do that, or stop calling me, which they're not going to if you're being nice. So just stay consistent and try that for a little while and know that it's going to take a little time for that to build up, but then track it and see, when do people start calling you and why? And if you do get a call from somebody that you don't know and you weren't already told that somebody referred them, right? Always ask, hey, did somebody refer you? And the reason I always do that is not because I actually think that they did, right? It could just be that they found me on realtor.com or whatever, or on social media or something like that. But it plants the seed, even to this person that you're talking to right now, that one, you like getting referral business, and two, they can do that, right? Because you might end up talking to somebody and they just really don't need your help right now, or they're not ready to do anything right now, or they just had a couple questions, they don't really want to move forward. That's fine, right? But that doesn't mean they can't send others your way that might be more ready or that might also have questions, right? So you always want to put it out there. I want referral business from everybody, especially if you think I'm awesome and you trust me and you're willing to send your people my way. So that's all I had. I just wanted to put that out there. You guys need to think about that as a part of your business, and it realistically should be a pretty decently sized part of your business. Yes, we find new leads whenever possible, but try to really build up that referral network as much as possible too.
thank you, Monica. That was fantastic information. I did want to add that the Savvy card the Savvy card actually has a component to it that will tell you if someone you gave your information to has referred you to another individual. So I'm not sure if that's a paid component or if it comes with the Savvy card itself,
I'm not
but
sure either. Yeah.
yeah, it's very good to know or to get a message that, hey, so and so just gave your information to this other person. Now, this other person, you can take the initiative to reach out to them before they even reach out to you, because you know that you were just referred by this other individual. So try that. And definitely, I love your challenge, Monica. That's fantastic.
There was one
Try,
thing I forgot to mention, and that's because, like I said, this takes a little while to build up and to start getting the referrals. But if you ever do get a referral from somebody else, from whoever it is, and you know that it's a referral, not just like you think maybe, right? Like you know somebody actually suggested that they connect with you. Um, Always make sure to go back and thank the person who referred them. um,
yeah,
Call them, text them, send them a thank you card. I know it seems silly. Okay, I already talked to them. I already texted them. That's okay. They get that card in the mail. They're gonna be like, "Oh, she took the
yeah,
time to put it in the mail." You know what I mean? It literally doesn't have to say anything fancy. Don't sweat what you put in there. It could just be a funny card. Hey, thanks for the referral, you know?
yeah,
Um, but please do that. It goes a long way.
yeah, yeah. All right. Any other questions from anyone?
No, but thank you, Monica.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I will say one thing if this comes up. So, agent to agent, you can refer somebody and get essentially paid for that, right? They can refer somebody to you and essentially get paid for that via a referral fee, right? If it's anybody else that is not licensed, you can't give them anything for it, right? So, like for example, Scott, if he were to refer somebody to me, I can't then say, "Hey, Scott, thanks a lot. Here's $1,000 when I close." I can't promise that, and I can't give that. Um, we're not really allowed to. I mean, what is the rule exactly, Bobby? It's just basically anybody that's not a licensed agent or broker, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, anyone, if it's you can give gifts to your clients because that is just a discount on your services. You can give referral fees to other agents, but outside of those two groups, you can't give them gifts.
Okay.
Card and I mean, a monetary gift, excuse me, monetary gift, but you can give them a gift.
Yeah, so I think there's limits to, obviously how expensive gifts can be, when you're giving someone a gift for whatever reason. They moved in, you closed a deal with them, they gave you a referral, they told you you looked great today. I don't know what you want to give a gift for. It's on you, man. But you can give gifts, something like maybe like a Starbucks gift card or something like that, or
Yeah,
a cute little plant or something like that. Yes, you
sure.
can do those things, but not cash gifts, money gifts. No, no. And I only bring this up because I was literally at a networking event and there was an agent there, not an agent, a lender there, and she was straight up saying, "I'll give you this much money if you give me a referral." And I'm
Wow.
like, don't say that.
Yeah.
Not
No,
only is it bad for her to be saying that, it would be bad for anybody else to even discuss it with her, because you never know who's listening in and who can and how it can come back to you. And you just don't want that to bite you in the ass later. So, if somebody is not a licensed agent or a broker, or maybe perhaps I guess a licensed lender wouldn't make a difference. It would have to be a licensed broker or agent. If they're not and they're saying something like that, just know either they don't know what they're doing or there's something shady going on. In which case, do you want to work with them? Right?
So I have a question. Thank you, Monica, for the meeting. But I thought about this, and you can also find out hey, where do you go grocery shopping at, right? You can give them a $500 gift card for the grocery store, correct?
Well, you have to be careful with gift cards as well.
Mm.
I think the thing that you need to keep in mind is the amount. I think $500 may come across as excessive. Yeah, and it could be, I mean, gift cards are a little bit safer than cash, but moderation, just keep that in mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you have a question and you're wondering, is this ethical? Is this gonna, affect my license? Always just run it past your broker, your team lead, and let them chime in on that.
Monica,
Okay, thank you.
sorry, Phil. Hi, guys. There is a such thing as a finder's fee, though, and I think that's the difference. You'll just want to look up the caps on the finder fee, and that can go to an unlicensed agent, but it has to be completely void of any negotiations. It has to be that they only introduced you.
Yes, they can't be involved in any way in any of the work that you do with your client.
Right, right. So I think those are the terms to look up for. And Scott, you may know a little bit more about this as well, but it's instead, it cannot be called a referral fee at all. A referral fee can never go to an unlicensed person. And then the finder's fee is somebody who just introduced you to somebody else, and there's caps on that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we can look up some details on car and double check this and send it out to you guys so that you know those limits or those requirements to be able to give a finder's fee or a gift as an exchange or just as a thank you, right, to a client for whatever reason, whether they're referring somebody or you close a deal with them. But also know that if it's a gift, there's limits to how much you can write off when you do your taxes. So just be mindful of those things. Ultimately, that's why I say one of the biggest groups in your referral network is going to be other agents because you can give business back and forth to each other and you can get a referral fee for that or give a referral fee to that. So it makes it a lot easier there and in not only in getting the referrals but also in doing the whole thing, in doing the whole transaction.
Yeah, I'll send that out to everyone, as far as the limits that is allowable through the DRE, through the business professions code. I did look up finder's fee and it said, also referred to as referral fee, typically range from 5 to 35%, but that's talking about the referral fee for another agent. So I'll do a little bit more investigation and get you some good information.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thank you, Monica. This has been a really good discussion, good topic. And we'll see everyone next week. Again, I think Ashley, you came in late. This is Jorge. He's our new agent.
Hello.
I think there we go. All right. And we are going to start some test prep classes. Just be on the lookout for that because we have a couple of new agents that have taken their classes. They just haven't taken the test. So we're going to have some test prep classes coming up if you want to join in. I mean, it's a good way to review your information or your knowledge of the topic if you want. But yeah. All right. Well, everybody have a good day and we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Once again, thank you, Monica.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Thank you, Monica.
Bye.
Bye, guys.